And 5, 4, 3, 2. This is a test, okay, I have just taken for practice. It is called Advanced Listening Practice. And this is about a survival story. Okay, then I printed, okay, my score, and I scored 10 out of 12. First one correct, second question correct, third question correct, fourth question correct, 5 question incorrect. The actual answer was false. Okay, let's listen now to this story about a survival story, okay? Let's listen. Are you ready?
Have you ever been out on a boat in the middle of a calm lake, felt the soft breeze in your hair, and felt it gently rock your boat? It's difficult to think of anything more relaxing, isn't it? But for my guest tonight on Special People, Jane Walters, being becalmed on any stretch of water in a boat would bring rushing back memories of a terrifying experience she encountered last year in the Pacific Ocean. Jane, am I right in thinking my lake image did not comfort you at all?
Hi, Edward. No, it pains me still to think of myself out on the water in any type of situation similar to that which you described.
Could you tell?
Okay. The first question is, Jane, this is the first question. Jane was sailing from Panama and had completed about 1,000 miles. True or false? Okay, let's check this.
Could you tell our listeners what happened to you?
Well, basically, I had crossed the Pacific west to east and was bound for Panama. 1,000 miles west of Panama, my yacht, the Belle Trieste, hit what I can only assume.
Okay, 1,000 miles west of Panama. My boat hit, well, an obstruction, perhaps a whale or a tree log. Okay, so Jane was sailing from Panama and had completed about 1,000 miles. No, she was. She had not sailed from Panama. She had sailed west of Panama and was heading for Panama. Okay, and she had not completed about a dozen times, or a dozen miles. Okay. So she was about 1,000 miles away, far from Panama coast. So this is false. Okay. Question 1, correct. False. Then you can do this. False. Now let's pass on to number 2. Jane's boat hit a surface obstructions. True or false? Well, I wrote true. She says that she struck what seems to be a whale or a tree log. Let's listen to this.
And only assume was either a whale or a log floating in the water. It was 4 o'clock in the morning and I couldn't see a thing.
So the yacht was holed?
Oh yes, I started taking on water immediately. You just can't believe the utter pain.
Yes, the boat had begun to take water immediately, okay? After it had struck perhaps a whale or a tree log.
Panic that grips you in a situation like that. I realized I had about 2 to 3 minutes to get off the boat onto my
She
life raft.
only accounted for 2 or 3 minutes only to leave the boat because it was going to sink. Okay, so she would have to prepare a raft, probably.
With as much useful equipment as I could possibly manage, but I made a
Okay,
big
she had to
mistake.
Oh,
she had to manage the most more equipment as possible as she could. Okay, and put it in the raft.
I threw into the lifeboat a few extra supplies on top of what was always stored there. You know, the lifeboat is there already stocked up as a time saver. I threw in a few
Okay, time saver means she had to act quickly, to move on quickly. Okay, and then number 3, Jane, could have used the GPS to call for help. So, false. She could have used the no because it was not available to her. Okay, and number 3 here in my sheet answer is here is correct. Also, let's talk a little bit, listen about her GPS.
few extra things, but I forgot the most important thing, which was my GPS device.
now, could you explain what GPS is for our listeners, Jane?
Yeah, sure. Now, GPS stands for Global Positioning System. It uses a network of satellites in orbit around the Earth to pinpoint the exact position of everybody who has a GPS set. Down to a couple of meters, it can know where you are. So it's obviously a really useful tool for people such as sailors, trekkers, and the like, if you have it with you.
I would have thought there would have been a device with GPS in the life raft.
Yes, there was, but I had taken it out 2 days previously to check something, and I had really stupidly forgotten to put it back. It was negligence of the highest order, and it almost cost me my life. The Beltria sank and took 2 fully operational GPS devices with her to the bottom of the ocean. And I was left with an 8-foot life raft and enough supplies for about a week, which I thought would suffice.
I can't imagine how terrifying an experience it would be out there, in the middle of nowhere on a small boat. Didn't you feel absolutely powerless, Jane?
Not so much, actually. Us sailors are well used to the rigors of being in the middle of nowhere, as you put it. I was certainly concerned about.
Okay, now let's pass on to number 4. Jane wasn't concerned about her food rations. No, false. She was concerned about her food rations. And here, yes, at number 4 is correct. Let's find out, okay, about what Jane said, okay?
Concerned about the GPS device. I thought things were going to be a lot trickier without that. But I can't say I lost my cool, lost control of the situation. I was pretty calm considering the great danger that I had just been thrust into.
Right. So you're in the middle of the Pacific Ocean in a boat little longer than the height of an NBA player. I heard you talk earlier, before we came on air, about the rather unfortunate fact, that you had sunk your yacht in the worst possible place in the ocean. I mean, for me, believe me, anywhere further than 50 yards from the beach is the worst possible place. But I mean, you're a sailor with, 10, 20 years experience? And yet you knew you'd been dealt an unlucky hand.
I was slap bang in the middle of a huge area of ocean known as the doldrums.
Sounds pretty depressing.
Well, exactly. That's where we get the expression from, to be in the doldrums. It's a vast expanse of sea around the equator where all the Earth's winds sort of cancel each other out, and you can have day upon day of dead calm. The sea resembles a mirror, and it can rain continuously for days, too. It's a very depressing, draining place to be in. Sailors need wind, and if that precious resource is suddenly cut off, you're left feeling totally powerless. be calmed in a frustrating situation you can't do anything about.
So that heightened the danger for you, I take it.
Well, yes. I knew there were some shipping routes, some cargo shipping lanes way to the north of where I was, but we're talking some 120 miles, which I admit doesn't sound too far, but I was on the oceanic equivalent of a mill pond, and I wasn't about to paddle 120 miles in the 7 days for which I had supplies. But of course, I had to.
I always thought wind and wave were a sailor's worst enemies, and yet you were in a gravely dangerous situation through the lack of these natural forces.
I was going to starve to death or die of thirst. I had 5 days worth of food and 6 days worth of water if I rationed myself.
Okay, so James was concerned about her food ration. Wasn't concerned? No, she was concerned. So it is 4 because she was aware that she's only accounted, the food only accounted for 5 days of water or 5 days of food plus 5 days of water. Okay, number 5. Jane didn't panic because she didn't consider herself in danger. Okay, true or false? Okay.
Myself pretty severely. But even at that point, I wasn't too concerned, as the doldrums is famous for its rain too, as well as its lengthy calms and lack of wind. So I have to say, I told myself, right, Jane, at least you have enough to drink. It'll be the ultimate diet. I'll lose like 30 pounds and be able to fit into my graduation dress again. You know, I tried to make light of it all.
And I suppose your mental state, your psychological fitness, if we might call it that, it's crucial in a situation like that, wouldn't you say?
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt. You need to keep positive. Keep thinking that a Panamanian tanker will be the next thing over the horizon, that some Costa Rican Coast Guard plane was about to fly over me. I would find myself hearing the phantom engines of planes for hours at a time. The mind plays pretty strange tricks on a person in a stressful situation, and I was desperate, desperately scanning skies for signs of planes that weren't there.
Okay, so Jane didn't panic because she considered herself in danger. No, that is false. Okay, that is false. She panicked. Okay, let's check this. Okay, here, false. Okay, and in number 5, the answer at number 5. Okay, the actual answer was false. Okay, let's continue with the other remainder of the 10 more question. Okay, hope you have enjoyed this. Thank you. Okay.